A little over a year ago, a year and a half ago, I guess at this point, we started a Patreon page for subscribers to join and support the work we do a bit and help defray the costs of doing everything that we do each week. And on it, we post regularly 4 or 5 times a week, auctions, other auctions that are coming up that we see, copies of the Antiques Gazette from the UK. We post the PDF file over there for people to look at and download if they want a copy for free, and links to things on the site, the global member pages and so forth. But we also do an extra video each week. And so a number of people have asked, what's the difference between the video you post over there and the videos you post over here? Well, the one thing is we post all the weekly videos that we put on YouTube are also posted at the same time over on the Patreon page, so you don't have to sit through any commercials or ads that YouTube might stuff in there. And we do extra things. And one of the videos we do every week is we call it My Watch Page, and it's just things that I've looked at during the week, things I'm thinking about buying, things that have sold, talk about lots that are coming up that maybe you haven't seen yet, things like that. And it's a bit more informal. It's a very sort of relaxed thing. And this week we did one, and you're going to take a look at it, and you can see what it's like. And if you find it interesting, come over to Patreon. There's a link at the bottom of each video. If you want to do it, you want to subscribe, you can come over and take part. But at any rate, this is this week's weekly video on for the Patreon subscribers. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your week. All right. Bye-bye. All right, so anyway, this will be the weekly watch page. But before I get started, I want to show you something that I got recently, and then we'll get into the sales. There were some good results. There's a couple of interesting things coming up that I noticed on Live Auctioneers. I mentioned the other day the Sotheby's sale over in Paris that's coming up. It's a very interesting auction, actually. Interesting things, some good collections and whatnot. But before I get started, I want to show you something that I got recently. You know, I like wood carvings. And I bought this off of a sale. I don't even remember where it was. It was in the Midwest somewhere. It was some little auction house I didn't know. And they had these. And very nice carvings. I might have mentioned that I got them in a previous video, or I bought some recently. But this is a pair of very nicely done carvings on a root stand. They're wood, probably 19th century. They could be older, but awfully well carved. Beautifully done, nice patina, heavy patina on them. Good details all the way around. Here's this one. At any rate. And, you know, the things like this are very inexpensive. I think I paid $100 for these or something like that, or $150. Sometimes they go for a lot less. Sometimes they go for a little bit more. I've got a carving coming that I just bought at one of the Freedman sales. It was in their interior sale. It was a huge root carving. That's on its way. It's actually not a root carving. It's a wood carving of an immortal. And the guy called me. He went to pick it up. It weighed 50 pounds. But it was very large. It's almost 3 feet tall. So anyway, that's on its way from Florida right now, and I bought this. And I absolutely love these things. And it's a great way to collect. You can get very interesting things without spending a huge, huge, huge amount of money, and so forth. So that's what's going on. Oh, Buck's out there. Here he is. Little man. Hey, Buck. It's a very nice day today out here. And I want to show you something just for fun. Because of the dog, we had some bushes put in here off the terrace, because this was all grass a while ago. This area here, and Buck and a neighborhood dog tore it all up. So we went and we planted these, and these will spread out, and these will cover the whole area. But we had to put the ladder up there to keep the dogs from running over it. There we go. So this is going to be here until the bushes get a little more established. But this is what they put in here. Very nice. And the yard is getting squared away for summer. Finally, we have a little yard here. It's nice though. They came in and mulched the gardens the other day, and somebody took back to take care of the lawn and do all that stuff. But anyway, back to the wood carving. We've got all the summer stuff out now. It's nice. But this is it. and so forth. This table, by the way, is a Chinese table. You might find this interesting. I bought this table at a Skinner sale about probably 15 years ago when we added this porch on, because I wanted a table we could leave outside and not have to worry about it in the weather. And of course, old Chinese furniture is ideal for this. And this is a beautifully done table with a gate leg base on it. Done like 18th century American furniture, but with a circular top. So there we are. Yeah. All right. And we've got the wedding lantern out here to have some light at night, and so forth. So anyway, here we are. Those are the figures, the most recent acquisition, and now we get on to the what's been going on Live Auctioneers. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a little something I threw in for fun. We're so happy the summer finally came. My God, it's been rainy and cold and windy here. And my wife showed me a film the other day. I mentioned we had a storm on Friday night. And there were some photographs that appeared in the local paper of the surf over on the beach. That beach, remember the beach where I walked Buck a few weeks ago? That beach had 12, 15-foot waves coming in on it, I guess Saturday morning on the heels of the storm that went through. We lost some big tree branches, and it was wild. It was wild here, but it's kind of fun. It's exciting. It happens several times a year here. We get storms like that because of where we live. It's where we stick out into the ocean a bit. If you look at a map in New England and look at Gloucester, Massachusetts, you'll see why we get hit like that. And we live on the northern tip of Gloucester. So if you look at a map of Gloucester, we live on the very top of it, facing, well, to the left of where we live. If we look out the window and look to the left, we see the southern shore of, well, we see Ipswich Bay and the southern shore of shores of New Hampshire, Portsmouth, that area, all the way up into Maine, Mount Agamenticus up in that area. And then the North Atlantic, Nova Scotia, is off to just to the right. If you just look a little to the right, it's wide open ocean all the way to Nova Scotia in the Canadian Maritimes. So you do get some weather here. We expect we'll be seeing whales pretty soon, and the seals are migrating through right now. And then we have shark season when we get the warm weather blows in the Gulf Stream, and the smaller fish, the mackerel, the bait fish, the pogies, bluefish come up along the coast, stripers and all that off of here. And then we get the hammerhead and great white sharks come in. So, but just so you know, if you plan on coming here, nobody's ever been bitten by a great white shark in this part of the United States ever, as far as I know. So they're not interested in people. They're interested in mackerel and fatty fish, as they call them, fish with a lot of fat and oil content in them. So anyway, that's sort of a quick update on the area. And I want to talk about what's been going on and what's coming up on Live Auctioneers. There's some very good results the last few days. I want to talk just about a few of them. There was a Quanzhong Jardiniere that we had posted on the global page, is this one here, and they had given it a $200 to $400 estimate. And I wrote them. I actually messaged them and said, "Is this thing broken, or is there something wrong with it, or whatever?" And they wrote back. They said, "No, it's fine. It's kind of dirty, but overall, it's in good shape." This was estimated at just $200 to $400. It sold for almost $50,000. And that's why we asked, because the Quanzhong decoration is very good, and it appears to have been done by one of the very prominent. I tried to look up the signature. I couldn't find it, but maybe one of you can. It was made by a very prominent, one of the very famous decorators, and so forth. And there's a list of them out there. But somebody obviously several people must have done some real serious research on it, and the piece just took off. And here's the bid history. Started out at $100, jumped on the opening at $2,400, and then it went on and on from there. So good result. And then this was a painting that was up at the Will Smith sale, and actually one of you, maybe I think it's one of the Patreon subscribers, I'm not sure, but one of our regular viewers anyway, messaged me about this. She actually called me. Excuse me. She called because she wanted to know, if she bought it. Her husband was interested in horses, and if she bought it, she wanted to know, what would be involved and so forth. And I told her to, register on the Smith site and go after it. And because the estimate was very low on it, she wanted to make sure she would buy it. The estimate was only $8 to $1,200, which seemed very low to me. And I told her on the phone, I said, if you plan on buying it, leave a bit of $5,000 on it. It's going to bring it. It should bring it absolutely in the $3,500 range or more, and it did. It brought $3,250 plus premiums for about $3,900. But it was a wonderful painting. I absolutely loved this, and I think it was. To be honest, I think it's a little bit older than they thought it was. I think this is an 18th century picture. The more I look at it, it's awfully well done. It's awfully well done. Any rate, that was a good result. So the Smith sale was very strong, by the way. He had some great things. If you want to see how the Americana market's doing, go up and check the post auction throughout for the Will Smith sale. There were some very good prices in there, and there were some good buys. There were some exceptional buys too. There always are. A Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a federal table only went for about what the heck was it? It was for nothing. This $450, and it was done by Levi Bartlett. And you probably don't know who he is, but he was a Salisbury, New Hampshire furniture maker, and his great uncle was the Bartlett that signed the I can't think of, was it Arthur Bartlett? One of the Bartletts that signed the Declaration of Independence. Came from a very historic family, in this beautiful, beautiful federal period table. This is why you couldn't have that table made for under $4,000, $5,000. It's a beautiful piece of furniture, absolutely wonderful. Very typical Portsmouth, New Hampshire bow to the front with the inlay. Extremely fine work. This was a great piece of furniture, absolutely astounding. If I looked at it, I was thinking about bidding on it, but I couldn't think of where I could put another piece of furniture in my own house, so I didn't buy it. But I would have certainly left probably 800 or 900 on it to make sure I got it. It was a heck of a table. It was estimated at 500 to 800. It went for 450 plus premium. That was no money. That was no money. That was an absolute steal. And the fun thing about Will Smith's sale too is that they do it with an auctioneer, and he is one of the few auctioneers around that actually has an audience in the room, and you can see them in the foreground. And they're very relaxed, fun sales, and they're good auctioneers. So bravo on them for their sale. They had some jewelry that did awfully well too. All right, so we talked about the horse. Now this the paint the Sibila Marin decorated dishes. Here, these are the ones that were done by the European botanist that they sent to China, sort of the way they did Cornelis Pronk. And let's see, this was the Bronx sale. What was the date? The date was yesterday. And these did really well. These brought $8,000 with the buyer's premium. Absolutely great looking plates. And again, because they're rare, these are exceedingly rare. And they've actually brought more than Pronk dishes typically bring in this size, but they were so beautifully decorated, as I mentioned a few weeks ago. I'm not in the least bit surprised. And that very, very attractive little, where is it? The Famille Rose Libation Cup by the Motorhead collection. It went for 2,000 plus premium, or around $2,600. And I don't think that was a heavy price for that. I think that was a really, really fair price. I thought this was awfully, awfully pretty, and a very, very rare type. So if one of you bid and got that, you're in good shape. You got something really wonderful. Both of those lots are really terrific. The other thing that was sort of a real steal yesterday, this was a sale at Blackrock Gallery, was this that Ivory Box I mentioned. Now, people are hesitant to buy ivory because of shipping things, but this was a really fine 1840, 1860 China Trade Canton market export box that had later gilded mounts put on it by this. It was a company in Paris that did this kind of work. And it was an absolutely elegant box. Had a few minor condition issues, but nothing that would disturb me. And you could probably clean up pretty easily. Absolute steal. But people are afraid of ivory. They're afraid to ship it and so forth. So sometimes it doesn't do that well. But I will point out that there was a sale here. This was the Kodner sale down in Florida. They had a bunch of ivory in here, and I was amazed that they had it. It popped up very late, very last minute, And this one sold for $1,800. It's a 19th century ivory brush pot. It was pretty good size. It was what was it, 7 inches tall? That's pretty good size for an ivory brush pot. I thought it was wonderful, and there were some other pieces in here. But this went for 1,800 plus premium, so around $2,700. But a very, very nicely done. It could, well, yeah, it's either late 18th or early 19th. It's not a later, it's not a mid to late 19th century with all this decoration, but it did very, very well. And the ivory cup that I had talked about a few weeks ago that was on the that was at Smith's up in New Hampshire, went. Oh, where's the result for that? It's here. There it is. It went for 850 plus premium, which was fine. Very good price. Plus, so it was about $1,100, $1,050 or something like that. But it was a very, very good, very fine. I love the dragonfly on the outside of it. Very, very good example. So, at any rate, the results are good. I'm going to go into more on results on Friday, but I just thought I'd share those few with you. And then hopping along over to here, there's a sale coming up. This is in California or New Mexico, Taos Auctions. And you might want to go check it out. I'm going to put them on the global pages and probably on Saturday morning. It doesn't start for another almost 3 weeks, not in 19 days from now. 19 days and 1 hour it starts, so you have plenty of time to look at the stuff. But there's some interesting things on here, and they look authentic to me. They look pretty good. One of them is this very nice Thai bronze head. This is a really fine example, probably 15th century. They're saying 15th or 16th. I think it's more likely a mid 15th century one, judging by the quality in the patina. But this looks awfully good. Really, really does. I don't think this is some nonsensical reproduction that's been sent in from somewhere. This looks completely legit from what I can see. I'd want to get some more pictures of the bottom of it up underneath. I would like to look under that edge to double check it, but I think it's certainly worth investigating, and it's pretty good size. It's 10 inches tall. And with the base, it's 14 inches. So this is a good presentation size. The other things in the sale are a very nice South Indian box, probably done around 1900, late 19th century, but beautifully carved with Hindu relief work and so forth, but very fine, that really, really fine Indian workshop stuff that they did. And they usually selected very fine rosewoods to make them out of, or lignum vitae if you're lucky. But lignum vitae is very difficult to carve. It'll dull down, it's the hardest wood in the world. It will dull down a razor sharp chisel to a butter knife in about 10 minutes. The stuff is brutal. I've owned a lot of lignum vitae. It's very heavy. It doesn't float, which is an interesting part of it. But at any rate, this box is 6 inches 6 inches long. It's not a huge box, small box, but very beautifully carved. And that'll be on the global pages by Saturday. And then I've always liked these caplas. This is they said it's Tibetan or Nepalese. I think it looks Nepalese to me, but it has the skulls inside and the skulls around the outside. It has a very nice patina, and this looks like an 18th or early 19th century one. They just said 19th century, which I think is fairly conservative, but this is a very good example. It's about 6 or 7 inches tall. These are not huge, but I think they're just fascinating. And I love the skulls and the very, very, very bright turquoise they had available, and then some coral inlay and so forth. And I love the masks on the end. This is a beautifully worked piece, and it's not a tourist item. This is a genuine ritual item. And the estimate is $600 to $1,800, sort of a wide range. It's got a couple of bids already. It's up to $350. There's only 4 people watching it. I'm going to add it to my watch list, and I will be the 5th person. There we go. All right, and now over to this. This is also in that sale. If you like shipwreck things, you might want to look at this. This is a sort of a very cool table sculpture. It's about 14 inches, so it's a pretty good sized piece of it's coral that was embedded from a shipwreck with porcelain. And they would sometimes, if they encountered these when the divers were pulling these up, you can't do it today in a lot of places because they protect the coral so much, but this was done probably 30 years ago. They would chisel around and so they wouldn't leave it behind, and they'd take out the whole thing, coral and all, and then dry it on the boat and bring it in. And these are Ming ceramics. So this is a really interesting table sculpture. So if you're a collector and you're looking for something great to put on a hall table in your house, just put some felt pads under it, because that coral will destroy a tabletop in a hurry. But boy, these are estimated at $5 to $1,500, $250 opening bid. I think it's a pretty cool thing. It's a fun thing. The Carl Crossman, who wrote the book The China Trade, owned a pile of this stuff. I remember it, we all went over to his. He had a gathering at his house one night for dinner and things. He had a beautiful house, and he had a bunch of these laid out all over the house that he had bought in Holland at one of the shipwreck sales. And he came home with them. He wrote about them. It was very interesting. We miss Carl. He passed away a few years ago. But anyway, that's an interesting bit. And then this is in the Kadinka from Java, bronze Kadinka, and this thing is big, as I remember. It is, well, it's not that big. I guess it's 10 inches tall. 10 inches tall. Excuse me. It was the other thing that was big. But the detail of this looks very good. And this is a very early one with a dragon, sea serpent coming out of the handle, and then it's got its full top. A lot of these you'll see, and they've been cut off at this first flange, and they removed this upper figure, and they sell them separately. A lot of these butchers that sell these early pieces will split it up because they can get extra money by just selling the top, and then they finish it over where they cut it right there. They cut it off right there, and will sometimes peddle the rest, or if it's bent, they'll just remove it and then sell the perfect part down below, and they get rid of it. This is the full piece. 8 to 24, we call it, it's worth probably $1,000 or something. Any rate, this is a nice thing. And by the way, this auction, they post the shipping in here. The shipping for this is $45 in the US. This is very, very smart marketing, very smart advertising. All right. So this is Taos auction company in Santa Fe. I think it's a fairly small operation. They also have all kinds of other interesting things. If you like curiosities and whatnot, they've got a ton of dinosaur, shark's teeth and skulls and sea anemone, all these crazy things that they have, and also some Roman stuff. But it's a fun sale. I liked it. I enjoyed going through it. And then the other thing that's coming up, and this is coming up tomorrow, right? Today's the 29th at Brunk's, is this dish. I came across this late, and I apologize. I don't think it's on the global pages. It's this very nice Rockefeller pattern plate. It's got a bid on it, but it's a hot water plate, and these are pretty rare. And notice the gilding. Often with these Rockefeller plates, some of you might recall, the edges are often always, very, very worn down here. The gilding is all worn away. This one is in very nice, intact condition, beautifully painted, and it's a hot water dish. And it looks to be in pretty good shape. So you might want to go after that. It should bring $2,500 to $3,000, but we'll see. Right now, everybody's wondering, how strong the export market is, because it's sort of all over the place. But some of the pieces have done very well. The other thing that's in the same sale, I believe, is this very nice Kinsey silver mixed metal vase. Now, this vase went through Freeman's a couple of years ago. I don't know why it's up for sale again. But you do have speculators. You do have people that aren't really collectors that say they're collectors. If you're buying and selling something within a 2-year period, you're really not collecting it. You're investing in it to flip it. All right. I consider a collection something that's, going into a collection, and it's going to be there for a number of years, meaning more than 2. Any rate, it doesn't diminish what the piece is. I think it's sort of insulting to the piece, as a matter of fact. The base is marked. The quality of the work is very, very good on this. You may recall there was a similar sort of silver vase. It didn't have all this ground stippling and whatnot that was in the Leland Little sale a few weeks ago, and it didn't sell. But I think it had a bigger estimate. Here's another one. This one might be a little finer. Because of all the extra, the flow, it looks like stippling. There's actually flowers all over the outside of it, mimicking the flower within the silver band. It's about 10 inches tall. Starting price is $1,500. It should bring $3,000 to $5,000. This is a very, very good one. All right, and then hopping along over to this. This is a sale that's coming up over in the EU. I'm just going to throw this in. It's Timeline Auctions. They don't have much else that would be of interest to anybody, really. But they have this. It's a 15-inch Kangshi Charger. And the only concern I have is is the color of it. It looks kind of gray on the front, but it may be overly backlit. If you're interested in these plates, this pattern, you might want to call, and if you have time, and get the sales on June 7th. I'll post it on the global pages on Saturday morning when I update it. But this might be a plate worth looking into because it presents so badly in this photograph. It looks like it's not white. It's a terrible photograph, I think. I don't think this is actually the color of the plate. I think it's probably much bluer and much whiter. And I think they didn't set the camera properly. I've never, but anyway, it looks authentic. You want to see the back of it, but it's something worth looking into if you like Kangshi Chargers, because the estimate's very modest. All right, and then over to this. This is the thing that's coming up at Wechsler's. If you've never shopped at Wechsler's, I used to buy a lot of stuff from Wechsler's back in the 90s, when I would buy the stuff based on photographs and out of the Antiques and Arts Weekly and so forth. But they're in the Washington area, sort of like Potomac auctions. And Wechsler's has been around a long time, and they used to sell a lot of very fancy stuff. And lately, the stuff hasn't been quite as fancy. Maybe they've had a change of ownership or changed how they approach estate and trust departments. I don't know. But at any rate, this is an excellent looking Baltimore mahogany cylinder desk. This is, if you're not familiar with, but again, they're one of these companies that only puts up one photograph. So it can be an opportunity. It's got this cylinder panel on the front, and as you know, that's a solid piece of wood that's steamed and curved bent. And when you want to reuse the desk, you roll it up and it goes into it. And these two thin handles here along here, you pull that out and it gives you a larger writing surface, a work surface. All right, because obviously that wasn't meant for laptops. But anyway, in a lot of desks, you can't really use a laptop on. These you actually could. You can actually use a computer on this because this pull-out writing surface will give you some room. But it's very nicely done. This is a beautiful piece of mid-Atlantic, which they call mid-Atlantic states furniture. Nice looking. Again, those Gothic doors that we saw on the Seymour furniture the other day. Oh no, was it Seymour or McIntyre? They both did them at the Bronx sale for Iris Hall. Has that secretary with the break front with the same Gothic panels. This is a very pretty desk. I'm not crazy about the handles. I don't think they're original. I'm going to bet it originally had brass handles. There was a period in the late 19th century when they went around removing brass handles and putting wood handles on furniture. It was just a style. I don't know why. I don't mind wood handles, but I don't think they're appropriate. I'd find the appropriate brass ones and put it back on. Those Repoussé gilt copper handles with the florets on them. They would dress it up a lot. Anyway, the estimate's only $1,000 to $2,000. It's got a $500 opening bid, and there's only 9 people watching it, and the sale is in less than a week. So you might want to look into that. And I know a number of you are Maori people. This is also in the Wechsler sale. This is a pretty good plate, 18.5 inches piece of Amari, but it's a very fine, very nice example. They did not provide a picture of the bottom of it, and I asked them for a picture of the bottom of it, and they never sent it to me, but it's a Meiji example. The center panel decoration is fairly standard, but the exterior with this very warm salmon color, I love that color. It's almost, we have a staircase that's sort of this color, that orange-red lacquer. Ours was based, one on our staircase, we have a staircase that goes up through the middle of the house, goes up 3 floors, and it has a lot of balustrades and things on it. And we sent I think I've said this before, we sent a very good book on Chinese lacquer to this paint company in Vermont called Fine Paints of Europe. And they make the best paint in the world. I'm just going to say it. I know you shouldn't say things like that, but they actually do. And their main customers are extremely high-end interior designers because the paint holds up. The whole inside of our house is painted with that paint. And when we renovated a few years ago, I wanted to do the staircase. Well, it's been 15 years, I guess. We renovated. We wanted to redo the staircase, and I sent them that book. And they perfectly matched 14th century Chinese red lacquer. It's got a slight bit tint of orange to it. It's absolutely beautiful. It goes right up to the middle of the house. But all the walls in the house on the first floor and second floor were done with their paint. And it has held up it looks like it was done yesterday, because it's the way they make their paints. It's a different process. It's a European paint method that they refined. At any rate, long story, that's probably too much information. At any rate, this is a terrific looking plate. And I think the estimate's very reasonable. It should bring $400 or $500. It's estimated at $400 to $600. I don't think that's unreasonable. It's a nice big plate. You want to check it for condition, make sure it doesn't have any damage to it, but otherwise it looks very, very good. And we're going to be going over the Rob Michaels has got a sale coming up on the 19th of June. So there's plenty of time. And he's got these two iconic pear-shaped bottles with the swirling bands on them. If you've been collecting China trade for any length of time, you've seen these before. A number of very famous collections have had them in it. Here they are with the garlic necks on them. There's very soft pink bands running down them. And these are not terribly big. What are they, 9 inches or something? Yeah, they're 9.5 inches tall, roughly, somewhere almost 10 inches. But they're estimated at 12 to 18,000, which is what they sell for. Christie's, I think, had a pair of these maybe 7 years ago. I remember them. It was one of the big China trade collections that was being dispersed, and I think they brought about 15,000 or 18,000. So I think the estimate's right in the range. All right, but if you've been wanting a pair of those, go after it. But he has a lot of good China trade in the sale. They put together a good sale. All right, so that sort of covers it. That brings us up to date where things are right now. I hope you didn't mind my my little intro out on the deck. I just wanted to show. I just loved that carving. I was so pleased to get it. It'll spend the summer and probably the winter out there. We glass the porch in the winter. The winter's all glazed. We put glass windows in the winter, so we can use it for an extended time. We get about probably 2.5 seasons out of that porch, because it's very pleasant out there. The sea breeze comes in and it's lovely. But in the summer it's all screened, so it's gone to screens now until probably late September, I suspect. Anyway, here we are. All is well. Hope everybody else is well. And that's it for this week. All right. Have a great day, everyone. All right. Thanks for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I don't say that often enough. I really like this doing these Patreon things. It's like a little clubhouse. It's kind of fun. All right. See you all soon. Bye-bye.